Hello and welcome to Across the Buc'n Pond with Bucs Report. With me, I've got a great guest coming up. He's going to be talking a little bit about his unfortunate, those pesky cheeseheads. He'll be coming in, Mr. Brendan Hurst of End of the Fourth podcast. He'll be joining us. One half of the End of the Fourth podcast will be joining us. He'll be talking about, we'll be reviewing the game together. And then later on, we have another guest coming in, and that will be Gav McAttack from Mad Sports Net. He'll be joining us in about half an hour or so. But without further ado, I bring in our first guest, Brendan. Welcome to the show, brother. How's it going?
I'm not bad, man. How are you?
You got those Victory Monday feels, right?
Oh, that's it. That's it. You're looking sharp. Nice beard.
Yeah, I try.
That's it.
That was a game, wasn't it?
Well, what? I don't know. It was.
Did your heart pound a little bit?
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I think it's very similar to a lot of Packers games, where the heart gets pumping. It's a bit scary. Get a little bit tight towards the end. Squeaky bum time, as we hear.
Yeah, I know the phrase. I don't know if our American viewers know that phrase. We'll have to go into that a bit more.
But I did actually pick the Buccaneers to win that game on the end of the fourth.
You never pick against your team. I can't do it.
I know. I just.
You did it.
I mean, you might be glad to hear. I still have you guys winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, thank you very much. You're too kind.
I just think
picking your team to win the Super. I mean, I know. You've got to be realistic sometimes, but you should. I'm shooting for the stars. If you shoot for the stars, you're always going to land on the moon at least.
That's it. Exactly.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about our game. That was a defensive matchup for the ages. The Buccaneers start off a little bit slow. That game could have ended up being a complete landslide in the Packers' favor if it weren't for that fumble towards the end of the second. And the Buccaneers all of a sudden turn it around. They kick a field goal. It's 3-14. They kick another one. It's 6. And those two defenses are going at it. It was such a game. So if you like defensive football, this was the game to watch for me. It had everything from that. I mean, you had two quarterbacks who are razzle dazzle, big name, big brand, multiple MVPs, Super Bowl winners, franchise names, household names in America, obviously, not so much in our neck of the woods, but and they didn't really do anything. It was their defense that stuck it out. The run games were subpar. You have a great run game. We have Leonard Fournette, who's pretty solid as a runner, and no one really got any traction. It was such. I imagine if you weren't a fan of those two teams, it was probably boring.
Yeah, and it's annoying to think because of the names that, like you say, the quarterbacks and the traction that the two of them have behind them, and everything you just said. You'd think that because when you think of classic quarterback matchups with big names, Brady, Manning,
shootout,
that kind of thing.
You
think of it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be really high scoring, that kind of game, but. I think there was a lot of factors that went into the Packers Buccaneers game that was in it. The heat was one thing.
Yeah, that really. I mean, if it looked like you guys dealt with the heat a little bit better than us for some reason to begin with, it seemed that we acclimated to it later. Like once that second half hit, that third quarter, the Buccaneers tended to they dug their heels in. And the one thing about this Buccaneers defense that I will say is they're famous for feeling a team out and then locking it down in the third and fourth quarters in the second half. They tend to be a little bit porous in those first two quarters. And you guys really took advantage of that. They weren't in the first two games, but historically, in the last 2 years, since we've had Tom Brady and this whole Todd Bowles regime as the defensive coordinator, now head coach, it's always been the makeup of this team is that we kind of feel a team out. We don't go guns blazing. We kind of let teams hang around, and then we finish them off towards the end. And it's kind of been our offense that's kind of stepped up to keep the point tally in check. And it's now been like a really big defensive thing. And you talk about this Buccaneers team, which is supposed to be loaded with talent, with a Hall of Fame bound QB, and they had scored 3 touchdowns in 3 games, which is kind of disappointing, really, if you look at it from that perspective. And when you talk about those factors, I completely agree. We're both got, let's be honest, in that game, particularly weakened wide receiving cores.
Yeah.
So I mean, I expected the Buccaneers to take advantage, and they didn't, of J.R. Alexander being out. When he was out, this is it. This is where you send someone. You send somebody who can fly. Unfortunately, Scotty Miller's got bricks for hands this year, so unfortunately, the only thing he might catch is the common cold.
Well, we didn't have Kevin King in that, so that could have been a factor there. So.
Absolutely, but he couldn't reel him in, and you guys got 2 fumbles when we just started to get I think it started to look like the Buccaneers were getting going. You got that fumble, and there was a lot of anger and outpour from Buccaneer community. Obviously, for me, I didn't have a problem with fumbles. I know that sounds stupid, but they happen. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see someone catch fumbleitis, where it's a consistent problem. Hey, if someone makes a good play on the ball, defenses live and die off that sometimes. We got one in that game that stopped it from being a blowout. Imagine how hard it's to come back in the second half when you are 21-3 against a team that you've only put 3 up against, that you've barely moved the football against, who in this point in time, the Packers have been scoring at will. So you look at it from a different perspective. You're looking at it, can we beat this team? Instead of, hang on, we stopped them from scoring. Now we've got a bit of momentum. Now we can get something going. But yeah, it was a titanic battle. It was a little bit lackluster from an offensive standpoint, but the defenses, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, no, really, really good. One thing I will say is that this trend of the Packers offense kind of stalling out really is becoming a little bit worrying. They kind of tend to stall out after one punch in the mouth. It happened in the playoff game against the 49ers in January. They were rolling. I think they were 7-zip up at that point. They were rolling. It was their next drive. Mercedes Lewis, who's an experienced player you could rely on, catches the pass, takes it downfield, and fumbles, and the momentum completely changes. Matt LaFleur deviates from the game plan, and it becomes all completely different. Like I said. The identity of this Packers team is that they're going to run the ball, right? It's been said quite a lot. They have a lot of trust and love for AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, and they want to run the ball and just tire offenses down. And Aaron Rodgers, you can trust him to make the throws that need to be made. I mean, he's a 4-time MVP quarterback. Who else would you rather have doing that? Maybe aside from your guy over there. So it's a tough one. So. When you see that the Packers were rolling, they were 5 for 5 on third down before that fumble of Aaron Jones on the goal line, who I wonder has maybe got fumbleitis against the Buccaneers, because now that's 2 off huge hits, and I don't know if it was by Vita Vea in both games.
It was one of those where it was a couple of guys, wasn't it? Like a Levante, someone had the initial tackle because they gave it to Nacho Nunez Roches. Big shout out to Mama Nunez. I don't know if she's a fan of the show, but I do talk to her, Mama Nunez. She's an absolute legend, and it's kind of cool to I wouldn't say chat, because me and her don't chat or anything, but she'll comment on my stuff and my children and stuff, and she's a really sweet lady, and I love the fact she calls her son Chocolate Drop.
It's so awesome.
That's amazing to me. I just love that kind of vibe that she still calls him her her baby boy and what have you, and I think that's pretty cool. And they did something really cool for her when he got re-signed. Instead of him being, when they put the graphic of so-and-so re-signed 2 years, how much money, who they're with, etc., they did Mama Nunez re-signs with the Bucs 2 years, and all her traits and what have you, of being a nice person, and that. I just love that. And they made it look like an official, they've taken the kind of stuff that you would see on a screen for NFL Network and kind of doctored it a little bit just for her. I like that kind of stuff. So
that's awesome.
They kind of gave it to him, but then when you look at the tape, it was more Vita Vea, and then Levante David has the covering tackle, which I think is the dislodger, I suppose you could argue.
But so Aaron Jones, he obviously fumbled, and then the Packers' game plan just completely changed. They stopped throwing it quickly. Aaron Rodgers, I think he was less than 2.9 average depth of target, or 2.9 yards average depth of target before that, and that was working. And I think that it was a relief to see the defense stand tall, but I don't think against an offense which is at full strength, that game's going to come off in the same way. So and then the Packers after that, I think they went 0-for-8 on their following third down, like their next 8 third downs, and they had 17 plays for 44 yards over the next 8 drives over that, and then there was the big rainbow to Lazard on third down, which broke the streak, but again it didn't come to any points, and thankfully the scoreboard guy or the jumbotron guy played something at the wrong time. Aaron Rodgers saw it and then there, but no, it was, it's like, you're a defensive guy. I assume you appreciated the defense on show.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at that bust much up. One person I would love to just sit down with and have that kind of defensive conversation is the Todd Bowles. Now, I was very lucky when I first started coaching. I don't know if do you know the name Hardy Nickerson?
I think it rings a faint bell.
So he was drafted by the Packers, became a Buc, kind of was the stalwart of that Tampa 2 defense, the middle linebacker of that. He left before we won the Super Bowl in 2002, and he became a coach. He coached he was defensive coordinator for a while, and he's now in. I believe he's now. And I got a chance to do coaching webinars with him, and he's such a sweet guy. Bless him. He sent me the creamsicle signed jersey in the post.
Awesome.
Once, and he's a really nice bloke. But it was great to kind of hear from him because he's from the school of thought of Tony Dungy, Rob Marinelli. I'm trying to remember the other guys. Coach Tomlin. Coach Tomlin was the linebackers coach when we won the Super Bowl. And then you've got the Lovie Smiths of the world. They're all from that kind of coaching tree of this Tampa 2 defense. So it's all good fun, and I'd love to sit down with Coach Bowles. As a person, in my philosophy of coaching, I'm very pressure. I've learned to dial it back a little bit now. In my first year, I was very, very pressure, and I realized sometimes it's better to have more people in coverage. And this is something you get. I'm just going to go through a couple of comments. We got Keith Larson with "Let's effing go." So fuck it. It's late for us. It's late for us. If there's children watching, I do apologize. This is the language of the streets. Peace out.
Watershed, so you're all right.
Actual football talk. I love it. Great stuff. Now we were bombarded quite recently with my hashtags and what have you. I had Man United fans attacking me personally in the show once. Unfortunately, I have no love for soccer, so it means nothing to me. So I'm there saying I hope they burn Old Trafford down and use it to grit the path to Raymond James. So it makes no odds to me. Or maybe you should sign a has-been player that you can sell lots of jerseys for, and then we can put a pool underneath the stadium so people can jump off the Pirates ship into a pool, because that would be fucking awesome.
To be fair, it would. Yeah.
Here we go.
It wouldn't be. I'm a Man United fan as well, and that's bad to Glazers.
Ben Israel. We watch real football, mate, not American hand egg. Well, I tell you what, Ben Israel, or just Ben Israel, because that's just easier. You're wrong, because it's not an egg. It's an oval. So
go and look at the
go and look at an egg, look at a football, and here's a thing that people don't realize. Do you know why it's called football? It's not really this, but fuck it, I'll put it in anyway. It's kind of pretty much the same size of a metric foot. What?
You should go and look at the Oxford Dictionary definition of a ball. I implore you to go and do that. I'll let everybody go and do that.
I love where you're going with it, but I've been in this conversation with people when people turn around to me and say soccer's an American term. So why do you have Soccer AM in England? And then they're like, and they can't answer me, and it's because it was called soccer. No, it's never been called soccer. Oh, so you lived over 100 years ago? Well, I commend you. You look really young considering you're 30 fucking 2. That's what they called it back then, because they wanted to differentiate themselves from the other footballs, Rugby Football Union and Rugby Football League, etc., etc. And Americans kind of got term of it, and they created their own football. But who cares? Just enjoy the sports as they are. If you like football, or you like American football, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy the sports for what they are. They're fun. That's what they're there for.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Exactly. So I have a couple questions for you, and some of them are a little controversial, but they're not nasty. Is Brett Favre a scumbag?
Yes. I had this I saw this way before.
They're not going to be that bad. They're going to go straight. Scumbag.
He was before my time anyway.
Yeah.
So I never really saw him play, but he looked like he looked like fun to watch on highlights. Watching a Football Life, that kind of thing. But the guy
Seemed like a dude.
sucks.
Seemed like an absolute freaking dude.
Oh yeah.
And he had a rivalry with a Tampa Bay Buccaneers player, Hall of Famer, Warren Sapp. So I loved hearing about him. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks because of his attitude of playing the game. Like he was that never say die, that never say never, that kind of attack. And I loved that vibe about him. And he trash talk and like I love that about him. And hearing this kind of just makes me feel more and more like, oh God, this guy's just a right wing angry person that just feels like I just don't get it.
Yeah, people say Aaron Rodgers is divisive, right? Which I could get, right? Okay, it's totally fair enough. But Brett Favre is specifically everything I stand against. So
absolutely. I mean, we all know that most white players in the NFL probably are of a right-wing nature because probably what they've grown up around. And I've heard a lot of people say I'm conservative when it comes to my bank balance, and I'm liberal when it comes to my my internal politics, my morals, because one looks after money and one's more moral. So hey, let's get out of the political conversation. Your favorite all-time Packer?
It has to be 12. I mean, he's like, I was thinking about it, like when he's very eager to talk about retirement and everything like that, and I keep thinking about how I'm actually going to feel when he does retire. And I feel like the sport world is a little bit of shine for me. Look, I get he's a weirdo. I get a lot of people, the people he associates himself with, a lot, very controversial. But just,
you've got to admire his skill set. You just got to admire what he can do on the field, for sure.
I don't think I would have enjoyed following the Packers as much if it wasn't for him. And that, that's everything to me. So,
I wonder if this leads into the next question. If he's your favorite all-time Packer, who was your first jersey?
It was him, but it was the white one, and it was far too big for me. I obviously didn't know the sizings or anything like that, so it was a dress basically.
Sometimes they have the numerical sizes, and those numerical sizes are really misleading because they'll say 44, and you're like, well, hang on, that's the size of a large chest.
Yeah.
I can get away with this. It might look a little bit baggy on my body, and you buy it, and you're like, God damn, I just feel like I put a bin bag over me with a number on it. But do you have you ever seen the Packers live?
I haven't, but I will see them for the first time in November. I'm so excited, man. I'm going to Green Bay. We're catching the Cowboys and Titans game, the 2 games.
You weren't able to catch the game that's here as well?
Well, we were gonna. It was very much in the plan to do so, but just Ticketmaster being Ticketmaster, you log on before 9:30. It tells you specifically not to do, and there's still 105,000 people here.
This might help you a little bit. Are you aware of like the NFL ticketing UK international ticketing group that's on Facebook? Okay, fair enough.
Run by Neil Elliott.
Yeah, he's a dude. I'm trying to get him on the show, but he says he's always sleeping. So I want everyone to, if you've got a business or a podcast and things like that, I want you to pump it on the show because I want to show how passionate we are across the pond, that we still have this hunger for this game that not many people are into. It's kind of a niche thing, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. So do you have any pre-game rituals? Is there any like superstitious things that you do?
I used to have a lot of superstitions, but I have just literally abandoned them all prior to this season, because they just makes no difference of like, I can't do this because we won't win the Super Bowl, we'll miss the playoffs, and we still don't win the Super Bowl, But it was things like I couldn't. It was only Packers gear on the weekend of the game, right? Because I follow basketball and baseball as well, and association football. And it's like if the other teams were playing, couldn't wear their kit, couldn't watch. Could watch the game, but couldn't watch the kit. It was alternating cans of juice depending on the week. That's a fun one. So it was Pepsi Max one week, Iron Brew the next. And it had to go like that.
You're a Scotsman. I love Iron Brew. Iron Brew is one of the
So I actually only came to Iron Brew within the past maybe 3-4 years. I can't even believe it, how long I missed this out for. It was like, I don't know. It wasn't like I was indifferent to it, but
my
then I
mother
started drinking
introduced me to Iron Brew, and I said, "What's this orange thing that I'm using? It's
it.
amazing." She said, "The Iron Brew," and I'm like, "It's amazing."
It is amazing. I love it so much.
I think it's an underrated alcohol mixer as well, because it doesn't, no one thinks of it in those terms because it's so elusive, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with my superstitions. So my biggest superstition is the moment the first game plays, I will wear that jersey. So it's been a Mike Evans red jersey, so home jersey, and a t-shirt and the t-shirt underneath, and the cap. Always backwards, obviously. Until we lose, it's a completely new jersey, and the whole set completely gets changed. So it kind of allows me to change my wardrobe when we lose. If we don't, then hey, I feel like I'm kind of contributing. It was a little bit more like the pre-game snack and all that stuff. I thought, I can't. Sometimes it's hard to get hold of what I want to get hold of, or I'm running out of time. I believe you've got a young family. I've got a young family. I know.
If his young family is cats, then yeah, sure.
Constantly running around, throwing cat food around. Come on! So tell me about your podcast, brother. We had you briefly on last week before we got cut off because of me sharing putting videos up that apparently I'm not legally obliged to put up, which I did not realize at the time because I thought it was YouTube, not it was Facebook that would be a problem. But hey, here we go. We get this sorted finally. Tell me about yourselves.
So we are the End of the Fourth Football podcast. It was just like I'd kind of always wanted to do a podcast, and I'd never really figured out what about. And then, one of my biggest passions is obviously American football. It's my favorite sport. I love it so much, and I just kind of thought I need to think of a unique selling point for one thing, and our kind of focus is we just want to get as many fan takes as possible. We want to get fans on, pretty much every week if we can to give their takes and reactions to their team's game. And we had a lot of we had a big off-season schedule where we did it was called a notebook dump series, where we went division by division and team by team. We just spoke about now we're through free agency, we're through the draft, we're through majority of the off-season program. What's going to be for your team this year? And just we cover all 32 teams, so it's a lot of work. But it's rewarding when you see the numbers slowly trickle up throughout the week, and it's really good. It's a hectic schedule at the minute. We do 2 shows a week. Tuesday is the week review of the previous week, and Thursday is the week preview. And it just goes so quickly this season. We're already on week 4.
Yeah, that's it, and it goes so quick, and then it feels like forever when it comes back around. Absolutely,
I know.
But so you do picks, you do mock drafts. I'm assuming as well.
Yes, we did do mock drafts. Chris joined kind of permanently after we did the mock draft, because I had another co-host at the time, but he started a new job, and then he started playing for the Edinburgh Wolves, so his schedule got a little bit less optimal, but he still comes on every so often when he's got the time. But Chris is more permanent and more reliable.
Hey, when you're playing ball and you're trying to juggle everything else in, sometimes it's difficult. Some people have more free time than others, so it happens. So I've got a question for you. If you're the GM of the Green Bay Packers, is there a move that you want to see your team make, and what would it be? Any move? Would you trade? Anything?
I don't. Yeah. I don't know if this is a. I don't specifically know if it's a hot take, but I would want to see OBJ come to town. I know he's obviously got the torn ACL, but reinforcing that receiver room and just bringing him in like he was brought into the Rams, last season. Because
I'm nodding with you, because I'm in complete agreement. If I was in your shoes, I would do exactly the same thing. Yeah. And I believe that guy's going to get courted pretty well. There's talk of him coming to the Buccaneers. In fact, I have to fight daily with Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans to tell him he's still freaking injured. Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, he's injured. He probably won't be ready till the end of this month, not October anymore, because we're in Spooktober. At the end of this month, and potentially even the middle of next month. So hold your horses. That's what I'm saying. But it's not out there. Like, hey, he might come here. But there's no point in getting overexcited over it because he's not going to. I had a guy to me. I think if we signed him for that Green Bay Packers game, he'd have contributed. What? As a water boy? Come on now.
Oh no!
And he went, "Yeah, I know he's in. I know he's injured." You do realize he's got an ACL injury. It's the same injury that Chris Godwin got, and that's the same injury that Bucs fans were telling me. It's too soon to put him in when they put him in the Cowboys game. And you're telling me 3 weeks later you're expecting to see? No, sorry, 2 weeks later you're expecting to see a guy who injured the exact same thing 2 months after Chris Godwin. So if you bang on 2 months when you think Chris Godwin's supposed to come back, that puts you in October, November time. Hey, we're here. We're all working hard.
Dire.
It irritates the crap out of me when people don't do their due diligence. But it is what it is. Going back to this game, what was the biggest loss for you? Because there's always a negative. So I mean, like a negative, something that you went, yeah, we need to sort that shit out.
Yeah. I think that I don't know if it was so much a loss, but it was more like, all right, guys, let's pump the brakes a little bit about the defense. It stood tall when it needed to, but let's be honest, this was Tom Brady and a bunch of Walmart salesmen at receiver and at left tackle. And they came within an outstretched hand of tying the game up and taking it to overtime. And with I think Tom Brady luck is a real thing.
The Buccaneers got the play clock or whatever was going on with that, because that irritated me because I was going off live at the time, so I didn't know about this whole Jumbotron bullshit. I just went with what was going on at the time. I was like, how do you not have that play ready to go at the start of that drive? Because you know you're going to need it. It's not going to get there and go, oh shit, we need to do a 2-point conversion. Damn, that 2-point conversion's already in your back pocket. The moment Tom Brady stood on that walked onto that field, it was over. Why did it take so long? It should have taken 10 seconds to relay the call. They were lined up, job done. I get that, they tend to usually get 10 seconds, 5 seconds, even right to the wire sometimes.
Yeah.
But that was one of those where it felt very lethargic to watch. And I'm like, why are we wasting time? What's going on here? And when the play clock ran out, we know that there's a bit more to it than that. But still, I'm like, come on, guys. This should have been dialed up. It should have been, as soon as it happened, it was like, get ready. In fact, if it was me, I'd go no huddle. I'd have gone bang, shell shock that Packers defense into thinking, oh my God, they just scored, because that's the turning point. Yeah. That knife has finally been put in, and you guys haven't given up a touchdown. So all of a sudden, your defense has got to rally itself. We end up going full speed, bang, and put it in. Not saying we would or wouldn't have, but we end up, let's say for the sake of argument, it might catch you guys off guard rather than let's be composed, let's take our time. It gives you a chance to align, get itself set, get itself good. Because the
Jumbotron guy keeps his job, so
exactly. and not just that, you will also have what is your 2-point defense package. Yeah. The most common plays are, or what you've seen the Buccaneers run on a 3rd and 2 or any 2-yard conversion, any 2-yard conversions. Those will be the kind of plays you're looking at with our free down package or 4th down package on the 2. That our conversion package, you're looking at that, right? That's the kind of shit they're going to run. And I've always said, and it's simple in football, if you can shut down a team's bread and butter, you've got a good chance of winning the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my logic was, we go in there, storm the gates, get the touchdown, line up super quick, maybe throw a motion in there to really throw some chaos in, have it already in the back pocket. Say Tom Brady turns around and goes, if we score here, this is what's coming on. Boom. And then we get it on. Now, that doesn't mean it will ever succeed. It just means I just think it's a better way of catching someone off. It could completely go the other way, because we've seen that happen when people go, well, why did they do that? They didn't get themselves set. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. They didn't do this. So,
you think maybe with the inexperience at receiver, maybe that's a factor. But I feel like you just got to trust the guys that are out there.
I mean, I think I do think that the fumbles kind of broke into the psyche a little bit, because it makes them not believe, and it took other players to make bigger plays to really kind of get that going. It took a Jalen Darden and the other kind of unrenowned names. I was really impressed with Cole Beasley, considering he was in 2 to 3 practices.
Yeah,
he got a heck of a lot of yards, but he got some catches and he was in play. So I'm like, okay, this guy can play. Well, Tom Brady likes a skinny white boy, so
There you go.
Yeah. I know you played a little ball yourself, didn't you? I remember you alluding to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I played. I was kind of all over the place. So when I started at university, I played for the Pyros, the University of West of Scotland Pyros, who are just, they're more like a let's just participation awards basically.
Mhm.
But it was a great team culture. We had a laugh, that kind of thing. But I don't think anybody, if looking at it 5 years later, I don't think anybody was ever going to see us win a game. Just with the lack of facilities, equipment, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I play D line there. My career highlight is a sack and an 82-0 loss.
Um,
So I was headbutted in the ribs at that point with a
all
helmet. So
right.
that wasn't too fun. But did that. Then there was a so if you hear anyone speak about where kind of the area I'm from is called West Lothian, specifically Livingston is where I grew up. And most people will just refer to that as it's a wee town between Edinburgh and Glasgow because they just don't want
It's not bang in the middle then.
pretty much it's pretty much closer to Edinburgh, but it's on that. If you're the train line all the way through,
Cool.
you'll if you're going from Glasgow to Edinburgh, you'll head through Livy. So there was a full contact team in the works there for a couple months after in 2018. But it just kind of fell through the funding issues, facility issues, that kind of thing. Plus, the head coach was a less than nice person, shall we say?
Downstairs, dreamy kind of person.
Just generally horrible. Like humiliating you in front of a lot of people.
My vibe as a coach is like I'm like the player's best friend. Like they call me Unc or Dad.
There you go. Yeah.
And I'm not that old. I'm only like I'm about to hit 7. I'm not that old. So we've got guys who are a fair few years younger than me, but it's not like light years between us. So
yeah,
they call me Unc or Dad or what have you, or Daddy or Pup or whatever.
You're the defensive coordinator, though. It's not your job to be they're like the guy that keeps them in check unless they're messing about. You know what I mean? It's the head coach that does that.
I keep my guys. They're my kids. Like, that's how I. You're my boys. So we work together. This is us. This is us. This is us. That's us against everyone kind of mentality. I've never been a cuss out person. I get frustrated, of course, but mine is my vibe. One thing I've always hated about some coaches is when they do the whole "you should have done." I hate that because most players know what they've done wrong, and I would approach that same thing. So ball goes over the head, they didn't catch it. Obviously, the reason you should have turned around and made a play on the ball. Yeah, that's the obvious thing to say. My answer is, do you know what went wrong? And they'll go, yes, coach, I didn't turn around. And I'm like, no, I don't need to say anything. Do you know what to do to correct it? No, coach. Right. This is what went wrong. This is how it went wrong. Do you know how it went wrong? And we break down. My job outside of football and in normal life that actually pays me money is I'm a quality assurance technologist in a cake factory. So my whole job is investigating. So my whole thing is learning out the whys, hows, and whens. And I find that extremely useful in the world of football, where I can just go in and go, right, why did this happen? When did it? When doesn't really count because I've usually seen when it's happened. It's usually when it's a score or a big play, kind of showing. How did it happen? What did you do wrong? What can you do? What do you think you can do better? And if they can answer all those questions, then I don't need to say anything. They've just made a mistake, mental error. They'll get back at it. When you start turning around and you should have done this and you should have done that, it creeps into it and it makes them feel less than, in my opinion. I wish I had a bit more nastiness in me because sometimes I think some players need it. And one thing you learn in balance is some players like to be coached hard. Some players you can't coach hard because they'll crack. That's football. That's people. Sorry, that's just people.
No, exactly.
So I'm going to bring in our next guest, and I'm going to just let you shoot off in a minute. But I've got a couple of quick fire questions. I call it my 2-minute drill, but I just don't want this guy to just be drifting in. And I'm bringing Matt. He's calling himself Mad Mac. Let's bring Mad Mac in. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning, good afternoon,
look
good
at this
evening.
shake.
What's good, man?
You got that Kansas City, oh Kansas. I love it.
It's a shame my camera's a bit too far away for for me to adjust it. But I was going to show you my mural that I have on the wall. I might try and tip it up
One
in a
that you
bit.
sent me.
This is the one that I sent you exactly. Yeah,
it's nice. He's got some good stuff. So I'm just going to do a quick fire round with Brendan, then we'll get to you, brother, and we'll move on and we'll talk a little bit more about your Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you ready, Brendan?
Let's do it. I'm excited for this.
Okay, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Okay, best ever Green Bay Packer?
Aaron Rodgers.
Juice or squash?
Diluting juice.
Okay. Coors or Bud Light?
What was that, sorry?
Coors or Bud Light?
Bud Light.
Okay. Rock or rap?
Rock.
Greatest all-time running back?
Ooh, Barry Sanders.
Nice. Okay. College or NFL?
NFL.
Okay. First favorite team draft pick?
Jair Alexander.
Okay. Cool. Steak or burgers?
Burgers.
Boneless or boned chicken wings?
Well, I'm vegan, so neither. Whereas I'm talking to
cauliflower. You go with the cauliflower wings.
Cauliflower wings. Yeah, we'll go for that.
Okay. I do apologize. I did not put a vegan option. No. We'll put the vegan in option next time.
There you go. That's right. We say burgers. It's like plant burgers or plant steaks. I should have just applied it, but
fair enough. You just kind of changed it up. I like it. Your first fancy draft pick this year.
It was. We were doing an auction draft. Who was it? I got Justin Jefferson, who's let me down, really.
Moments. Most hated team.
Oh, I really don't like the Vikings.
And I guess that was what it was going to be. Your favorite takeaway, as in, if you had to order, you're sitting down with the missus, you're sitting down with your partner. Let's get boom.
Well, we've been going back and forth between Pizza Hut and McDonald's right now. So I would say Pizza Hut. That's my go-to right now. So.
I'm a Chinese guy. I like Chinese food. Mm-hmm. Most hated player.
It used to be Tom Brady, but I don't really hate anymore. I don't really like Zadarius Smith because of the things. So we'll go with that.
Best in-game snack. So you sat down, you got your beers, you sat down. What are you eating?
We've got these. I actually just ate a pack earlier on. They're a bit reliable.
Okay.
Salted caramel cups. They're like they're kind of like Rolos.
I would say. Okay, got you. I'm down with that. Is that with a beer though?
No, probably just like either like an Iron Brew or a Pepsi Max, that kind of thing. So.
You don't drink alcohol during the game?
Nah, kind of just in the Super Bowl. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe if the nerves are getting up a little bit, it's like okay, let's just
each their own. My rules is a beer per a pint per a half, and then on the final half, it's a rum and ginger ale, which is called a dark and stormy, which I think goes perfectly well in that fourth quarter action for me. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Most overrated NFL player right now.
That's a tough one.
Hey, there's no wrong answers.
I'll say Russell Wilson just because of this big contract that he got.
Who?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. That's a fair.
Just because of the contract.
Yeah.
I think he's great. Yeah, I think he's great, but just the contract is like you need to start paying this back, man.
Mm-hmm. The most underrated player in football.
I got to be a biased. Romeo Dobbs.
All-time greatest QB.
All time. It's got to be Tom Brady. I see through gritted teeth.
We've got him on a rental, so it's not like it's. I can't turn around and go. Yeah, we got the goat. We got all these. We got one from him. But that's enough. That's windy. It splits us from the division now. My brother, much appreciated for coming on. I love it. I will definitely come to feature on yours. I'll send you my picks over later on after this because you did say you wanted them.
And I'll get I'll send you the Scorching 6 as well, which is the picks against the spread. There's 6 games we pick against the spread every week as well. So I'll send you them. And yeah, thanks for having me. It was great fun,
brother. And at least this time it went a bit smoother than last time.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, man. Much appreciated. I'll see you soon, brother.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
See you,
Take care, buddy.
See you later.
Front seat. What's good?
Yeah. I mean, we here we go, Gav. How's it going, brother?
Yeah, not too bad.
It's been it's Mad Sports Net, right?
Yeah, Mad Sports Network is the pod, but I'm sort of, when we started it off, we had a lot of free time, we had a lot of spare time, so we covered a lot of different sports.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID. But I was podcasting before. I was podcasting before that anyway. Before COVID, mainly soccer. I'll call it soccer between September and February.
Does that upset people?
Yeah, it upsets everyone, but
I love it. I love it.
Care less. It is soccer between September and February, and then it's football afterwards, because football is right now. I'm wearing a football jersey right now. You know,
I love your style, brother. I love your style. I love all of that now. I call it soccer just to irritate my friend. I really don't. It's not a sport I'm into. So I was brought up on rugby. To be honest, I should be a soccer fan because I'm half German, and the German team's freaking good, and they've won World Cups, multiple World Cups. But
I've got a lot of time and a lot of love for Germany. I learnt German in school, and over the last 195 days, I know that because over the last 195 days, I've been on the old Duolingo learning German. So
whereabouts are you from in the UK right now? Paint me a picture.
What's that, sorry?
Whereabouts in the UK are you from right now?
Northampton.
Northampton.
So, yeah, about 60 miles north of London, for the people that don't know. But
everyone just assumes that England is London.
England is London.
England is
Manchester,
London.
And that is.
We all met the Queen. We all go around regularly. Well, not anymore, obviously.
Not anymore. Yeah.
I'm going with Charles. I don't know if he can make a decent brew.
Yeah, I can't stand tea. So when it comes down to that, quick fire.
You straight on the coffee?
Oh, yes, my bad boy.
I like it. I got myself a little rum cocktail. I got me a Old J spiced.
Oh, do love that stuff. Love it.
It's good stuff. I'm a big rum fan, so it goes with the tiki kind of Hawaiian shirt, relaxed vibe that I got going on. So let's talk a bit about the Kansas City game. Patrick Mahomes has gone a little bit not as good as the games have gone on.
I strongly disagree with that.
I'm looking at base stats. I'm looking at I'm looking at the Indy game with the 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and his rating being a 7.8. Look, as far as I'm concerned, he's probably one of the most talented quarterbacks in the National Football League right now. So it's not me coming out here and knocking Patrick Mahomes.
Look, the issue in the game the other day. The issue in the game the other day wasn't anything to do with Patrick. It was more to do with. Sorry, I'll call him King Patrick Mahomes II. That's what I'll call him.
I like a bit like Thomas Patrick Brady Jr.
Yeah, but bun him. I don't like him. But like Travis Kelce had probably the worst game I've seen in a Kansas City jersey. You know,
had hands like a fucking digital watch.
He did. I don't know if we're allowed to swear, and I'm very potty mouth. So.
We are tech. I mean, I swore. So if you swear, it's on me. So
that's fair. Love it. Yeah, his hands were terrible on the day. I mean, like there was the one. I can't remember exactly what point it was, but he's open, he's free. We know he's got the safest hands, some of the safest hands in the game. He catches that, the game's put to bed. We've got nothing to worry about. We wouldn't be talking here worrying about what's going on here. And I'd feel a lot more confident. Not as that I don't lack confidence going into the game on Sunday night, but if we were going into that 3-0, it's a whole different ball game. But now we're going in there 2-1. There's even more pressure to try and get a result here. And you know, I don't mind playing. I don't mind playing the Bucs regular season. The only thing that I'm upset about is how the Super Bowl ended up, and that will sort of like sit with me, knowing that the year before we'd won it. The year before we got done by D Ford jumping offside when he didn't need to move. You know, there's 30 seconds of the game left. It was like. If he doesn't move, you know, our defense was strong enough at that point we're in a Super Bowl there. Do you know what I mean? So then we could have had 3 trips to the Super Bowl in those 3 years. You know, so things like that wind me up a little bit. But you know, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm used to disappointment.
But you won today, right? You won the derby, right?
Yeah, man. I've got my shirt.
My best friend's a Bucs fan and he's an Arsenal fan, so he likes the fact that we fire cannons and they're called the Gunners. So he goes, it's like it's perfect for me. It's like, okay, fair enough. I got that on the underneath.
Man, always representing, man.
I'm just gonna go through a couple of one or two of the comments. Like I get a little bit of attack now these days because of the Man United thing and the hashtags and stuff. So I got Mr. Curly Wolf, greetings from Texas. Hey, greetings from Texas, any day of the week. And then I got this guy who keeps coming on and oh god,
don't worry about it, Ben. It's all good.
I think Ben's just not able to finish anymore. He's able to finish, and that's why he's got to come here for his restitution. It's not enough for him. So, tell me what made you become a KC fan?
Got an interesting story about this. Because
why I love it. I love English fans. English fans have these interesting stories, whereas most American fans usually either pick because their family were those fans, or it's usually a Super Bowl was involved, or they're from the city.
Yeah.
So English fans are a little bit more out there. Unless they're New England fans, they use that. Have you ever heard this one? I supported New England because we live in England and they're called New England. So, and you're like, no, you watch the Super Bowl, you watch Tom spin it, and they won, and you're like, I could support this team.
Yeah, be more creative. I mean, like for me, the first Super Bowl I was aware of was the nipple slip. You know, I'm 35, so I didn't even know anything about American football. I couldn't tell you a single thing about American football, and I still weren't interested. I was just gutted that I didn't stay up overnight to watch it live, you know, because Janet Jackson back in the day was lame. Anyway, the reason why I became a Chiefs fan, I actually, as I said, I hated football. I hated it. I went to school with a guy he's from California, but he's a Cleveland fan. Make it make sense. But when we left, I left school in 2003, and he had the original Xbox, you know, the big black box one, you know, and he was like, "Oh, Gav, do you want to come around and play FIFA 03?" I was like, yeah, I'll come around and play FIFA. I walked 45 minutes to his house, which might not seem long, but I'm not very tall. So that's like double steps for more people.
I'm going 1.5 miles to 2 miles on this.
Yeah, it's about 2-3 miles. Yeah, about 2.5, 3 miles away.
You got to walk down and bruise, and it's fine. But if you ain't got that shit going,
well, I was 16. You know what I mean? So it was just MD 2020. Yeah, and I had a CD Walkman at the time, actually.
Oh, did you have the no bounce, motherfucker?
Yeah, because like
those bounce ones, you like step every time.
Yeah, skipping, especially when you're burning CDs from Kazaa. Anyway, like that's how old I am. Kazaa, I weren't even using.
I'm the similar age.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? LimeWire weren't a thing. Anyway, so I got to his house, and he goes, "Right, we're playing Madden." I was like, "No, we're not. I've walked all this way. We're playing FIFA, right? That's what we're doing." He's like, "No, we have to have a game of Madden beforehand." I was like, "All right, okay, cool. I don't even like American football, shit, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Right." I was like, "What team do I use? I don't know any of the names of these teams. You know what I mean? You're just making things up with the team names." And I was like, "Look, just find me a team that wear red, right?" And I was looking through the teams. I saw the Niners. because I like the black and red connection. So I was like, "Oh, I like the Falcons kit, yeah." And he was like, use these guys. They're 9-0. That's the Chiefs. I was like, "Oh, so what's that mean?" He was like, "They've won 9 games, haven't lost one." I was like, "All right, I'll use them." We lost against Indy, I think, in the playoffs that year. But I've had to do my research on that, like in the last 7-8 years, because back then I didn't know. I didn't know. But I beat him, and I was like, "Yo, I'm actually quite good at this Madden game." Obviously, like on Madden, you've got like the X's and all the buttons and stuff above it. But you know, I beat him comfortably as well. Then we turned to FIFA, and I smashed him at that as well. So I became a Kansas City fan. Yeah, man. I became a Kansas City Chiefs fan from back in 2003. But you know, sparingly started watching the Super Bowl until about 2008, and then after that I watched Super Bowl every year. Any game that was on I'll start watching, but then probably about 2014 I started paying
Mhm.
more attention to it. You know, I had more spare time. I was working nights, so my nights off would work out that it was, oh fuck it, whatever live sport is on, it's American football. I mean, like, if I go back when I go back on my memories on Facebook, I see little bits and bobs from like 2010 or 2011 where I've actually commented on a game that I'm watching. But when I started doing fantasy football back in 2017, that's when I started caring a hell of a lot more about football. Beforehand, I was just watching out for the Chiefs results, and if the Chiefs game's on TV, then I'll grab it. But yeah, since 2017, I've been like absolutely bumming the fantasy, and you know, I've had a chance to go to a couple games. I was actually at the highest ever scoring Monday night football game between the Chiefs and the Rams. Bittersweet moment. My best friend lives over in the States, so I went over. He was living in New York at in 2017. I went to Panthers and Jets. That was a sick game. Almost got beat up by some Mexicans. That was fun because my arm is actually really good. If I was taller, I would actually think about being a quarterback because, you know, I could throw some dimes, I could throw it far, and I could throw it accurately as well.
You're in Northampton, so what about the Northampton
The
night?
Northampton Knights. Yeah, I'll go down there, watch them quite a bit, but I've got my daughter in that as well, and I play a lot of darts. Darts is my number one sport to play.
I moved to Northampton Knights because we got our asses kicked by him twice.
Oh, who you play for?
I'm a defensive coordinator.
Oh, who did you play for?
Well, coach now, but I used to play for Worcestershire Black Knights, and I've now moved teams.
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah. Well, to be honest, the boys they train down the road. I know a few of the lads as well. I do fancy going down and like kitting up and having a little chuck with them and that. But as I said, I'm 5'7".
A lot of commitment as a quarterback. I mean, that's one that if you're going to be a quarterback, you got to be dialed the fuck in. Like, you can't make practices. It's you just won't get on the field. We had quarterbacks who just rotated in and out, and they were just like whatever. And they're like, the head coach was like, "You're not playing. Like, you're just going to stand from the sidelines because I can't trust you."
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it completely.
You know, other positions to a degree where you miss the odd practice here and there.
I mean,
quarterback is you just can't.
I mean, like back in the day, I was rapid as hell. You know, I kept myself fit. I was a soccer referee for 10 years. You know, I was keeping fit on a regular basis. Now I just drink too much. You know, but you know, I still look trim. That's the main thing. But yeah, So I went to that game, and then the following year, my boy moved over to California, and got to see my boys in the flesh, and that was probably the most amazing feeling ever, but so bittersweet, as I said, because it was a weird game actually, because even though there was 105 points in the game, both defenses were really good that day. It was just two brilliant offenses like going at it. There was a couple pick sixes in it. There's a few interceptions and that.
It was more of a defensive explosion rather than like a knuckle down defense. Like
yeah.
Was you know, like that Rams Patriots game that we go back to that everyone said was the most boring Super Bowl of all time. Like,
but you're a defensive coach, so for you were like, man, that's the best thing I've ever seen. But like, I
still want to, if I'm a viewer, I never watched the game as a coach. So people come up to me and go, "Well, what do you think of this?" And I was like, I wasn't looking.
Really, see, like I watch football from a referee's point of view, but I'm also a qualified soccer, I should say. But I'm also a qualified coach and a qualified scout as well. So therefore, I can put myself in different situations and take away loyalties when I'm watching games and things like that as well. And offer a little bit
it's not that I can't. It's just I don't want to. I just want to enjoy it for what it is. Like, I want it in the purest moment of just enjoying the game, sitting back. Like, obviously, there's some things your eyes just can't unsee, and I imagine you're the same. You're like, that's this, and then that's that, and that's that. There's some things I can't just unsee, but I try not to just kind of I take all pens away from me because otherwise I'll sit there, jot down crap, and I don't want to be that. I want to sit there with a beer, a few crisps, some nuts and what have you, and just sit back and probably text one of my mates, you know, just chit chat and what have you in between the breaks, which is why I love this game so much. And one of my friends said to me, "Do you know what I dislike about American football? It's the stopping and starting." I went,
I'll tell you what, then everybody that says that, I love when people say that. I'm like, what are you doing on Sunday night? 6 p.m, Sky Sports Mix, just watch football all day, like all evening, 7 hours uninterrupted football. And you there was no commercials, there's no stop start. You're watching this game, that game, that game. And what I love in particular is when it gets like 9 o'clock, because there's only 4 games on, sometimes 5, but normally 4. So you're actually seeing more plays develop. You are seeing the ball on the 20-yard line, like
you're seeing a bit more development.
Yeah, you're on the halfway line. You're seeing bits of bobs going on rather than just going snap, 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 snap. But it's still sick though. I love football. Honestly, I live and breathe for it now. It's my favorite sport. And my best friend who lives over in the States, as I mentioned before, Stuart Mitchell, by the way, big up yourself, Stu. He used to, like, when he moved over to America in 2014, he was like football's the best sport in the world. I was like, piss off, man. It's all about soccer, man. But then, yeah, as I said, like, I'm fully immersed in it. I'm doing fantasy every year. This year, I actually wanted to take a step back for fantasy because I was worried about my personal spare time. So I'm not doing fantasy this year. But then one of the boys dropped out of his league, and then I got first refusal, like inheriting his team. So I was like, yeah, screw it, get me in. I miss it. So. Yeah, I like the team. It's actually a good team.
It's one of my things I want to do. I've just never found
fantasy.
Yeah.
Thing is, because like for British fans of sport, when they what the thing that pisses me off when they're doing like Premier League fantasy is that I've got Harry Kane, you've got Harry Kane, you've got Harry Kane, you've got Harry Kane. So like, what's the point? Whereas like in fantasy,
you feel like you're 2 teams actually going against each other, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So you've got like maximum 12 in your league, and you do a draft, and you snake draft as if it's like a proper NFL draft. You have draft night. Like I'll hop on Zoom. Most of the boys will be like together in that because they're over in the States. And then we're all still sat there drinking beers, got our phones out, ready to go. I've written notes all day.
About that pick,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like trades, everything. Do you know what I mean? So it's sick. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I think that's the beauty of it. But the one thing, one of my friends always, like, he said to me, is like, I just don't like the stop start. And I'm like, but the stop start's sometimes the best part. And you're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I can actually text you. So what do you mean? I said, I can watch a game and go, dude, did you just see that? And you can comment me back, and I haven't missed nothing. If I need to go to the toilet, I just wait for either the defense to stall out or someone to either score or it goes 3 and out.
3 and out, yeah.
And then the punt's done. I can go for a quick waz.
Yeah, I'll go for a waz, go for a fag, go grab a beer, bam, done.
Go into a can, sit back down. I ain't missed nothing. Nothing's gone wrong. There's nothing worse in the live sports games is when you go back and you miss something. You're like, oh, man, I don't get to live that moment.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. When I go to the games, I've gone to a fair few of the games in London. I always sit next to the steps because I never want to go at halftime. I want to go during the game in between because I feel like I've got something in my head there. I'm like, I'll go now, and it'll be like, where they're just setting up, and I got people looking at me like, why is he going now? I'm like, because I know what's going to happen in a minute. Get this beer, get this pee done. I'm sat down, and they're all like waiting, and I'm just sat down. They just got the playoff, and they've got so many like videos and TVs in those places now that you can't miss nothing. So
one of my favorite things, like watching football over in the States, because obviously the timing of the games is fantastic. I mean, like that Super Bowl that we won back in 2020. That was quality because he's a Niners fan, and obviously I'm a Chiefs fan. And so when we won, when we won our games, he was like, "Where do you want to watch it?" I was like, "I'm actually just going down my local." He goes, "I'll pay for your flight. You're coming over to the States." I was like, "All right." So I watched it with him, and that was amazing. And watching like kickoff at like 3:30 in the evening, in the afternoon, I'm like, well, I was pissed already, if I'm honest. That morning. That morning the Arsenal were playing, so I watched the Arsenal in because he's got a pool, so I was watching it in his pool at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Got White Claws on the go because it's just alcoholic water, so we're feeling hydrated, you're feeling fresh. But I was semi pissed, and it's like 3 o'clock in the evening, in the afternoon. I say the evening because it started getting dark, but it's still like 22, 23 degrees outside. You know, I've got my jersey on, you know, watching the games. But like when you go to the boozer over there and watching Red Zone, because once again of the times, screen after screen after screen, everyone's got their phones out looking at their fantasy team, seeing what go on, and you're just watching like everyone just immersed in it. It's such a vibe, man. And then when you're over there for tailgate parties, that's what I'm saying about the Mexican dude on my arm, because like as I said, I could throw a decent dime, I could throw many, but I need 2 or 3 just to warm the arm up. But that first one, I must have hit this guy's friggin' car in it, and he was coming after me. I'll put my best English on. I was like, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to do that, I do apologize, like giving it them ones. Because I was thinking, shit, this guy's gonna fucking kill me, man. The man had a fucking tattoo with a tear on his face.
You're done.
I thought I was gonna die. But no, we ended up making up, and we ended up actually like getting involved in a little party. We were swapping food and that, because we had a barbecue going on there and that as well.
Very social, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We're all there for the same reason, you know. And like my other best friend, he lives in London, and he's a Panthers fan. So you know, yeah, I mean, like he became a Panthers fan because he likes football, but didn't have anyone to support. And the first ever game he went to was a divisional when they went on their massive run to the Super Bowl. So he was like, man, I'm in the stadium, I can't not. So then it became big up Adam Deering as well. So like he's massive fan of the Panthers. So yeah.
Oh, respect. So here's my question for you. If you were the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs, is there a move that you would like to make?
Those Chiefs. Yeah, man. Moves I would like to make. Those moves I would have made. The thing is, like, money is important though, innit? In terms of salary cap and stuff, because losing Matthew,
salary cap doesn't really exist. Ask the Saints and the Bucs.
Yeah, you make a very fair point. Like losing Matthew in the preseason, and Reek, man, honestly, Cheetah, you know, we sort of miss him. We do miss him, but what I like is that we're spreading the love elsewhere, and I'm a fan of that, because what you're seeing a lot of the time is a lot of double you're seeing a lot of double coverage on Kelsey, because of, you know, he's expecting 1,000 yards, you know, he'll get X amount of tuddies and whatever, you know, fantasy king. But like now that he's sort of like the focal point, we still got Juju, we still got McCall Hardman. Exactly.
Did Jackson Mahomes done some dances yet, or have they kept it separate?
You know what I mean? There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving pieces. I would like to see a more reliable running back in my ranks. That's what I would like to say, because I love CEH. I love him, but he can't stay fit. He's coming in like CMC. Do you know what I mean? So like you already know that, well, it's 17 games, it used to be 16, now there's 17 games. You know that he is featuring in 10 of them, and you know, at best.
And you guys gained quite a renowned Tampa Bay Buccaneer in our Super Bowl run in Ronald Jones, who still hasn't even suited up for you guys yet.
Yeah, exactly that. Do you know what I mean? And he's a boss as well. I mean, like, I would love someone like Leonard Fournette in my team.
He would if he got open, he's going the distance. He got 98-yard touchdown or something like that against the Panthers.
Yeah,
so he got legit speed. The problem is he's just terrible at reading blocks, and I think schemes tend to confuse him, which is why eventually Lenny Fournette just went.
I love Leonard Fournette, man. Honestly, that draft year, man, the amount of talent that came out of that. Honestly, was it 2017, wasn't it? 2018.
Yeah.
The class of that year, man. Fuck. Honestly, there's so much going on there.
Running back as well.
Especially running back, yeah, for sure. But yeah, so like, yeah, if I was GM, you know, like, I don't know, in terms of what we're doing, you know, I'll just trust Patrick. Just trust him.
Would you want to bring in another weapon or someone on the offensive line to help him out? Good.
I think our O line's looking all right. You know, we've got a couple of rookies in and stuff, but they seem to have been able to get to understand straight away, and you know that alone has given Patrick a lot of time. He hasn't been sacked many times this season. I know we're only 3 games in, but if you look at season before, no, it was last season, where it took a long time for him to get cooking. But then when he did cook, he was flames. But like this year, I feel like we hit the ground running. Like that L against the Colts is a blip. As I said, that was all about Travis Kelce's hands rather than anything that we did wrong. We didn't do anything wrong that day. I don't think we did anything wrong that day.
You just get caught off.
Yeah, and that happens. And you're allowed. It's okay. You know what I mean? So yeah, I wouldn't want to add anything there. I think our defense, you know, our defense is strong, but you know, when you're watching game by game, you're just seeing silly mistakes happen. But then when you're watching everybody play, it's like everyone's got those because you don't know how to read certain plays. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's okay. You know, unless you've got a really predictable quarterback, and then or playing against a really predictable team, it's like we know exactly what you're going to do. Cowboys, but like, you know, so.
And weirdly enough, they've won 2 back to back. How the hell did they do that?
Yeah, well, Pollard was beasting out, you know, and Zeke is Zeke, any, but you know, right? Yeah. Like once I'm trying to trade for Dak Prescott at the moment because you know he's very predictable. You know, first, second, run, third, throw, fourth, kick. There you go. You know, it's obvious. You know, I don't understand how many teams don't know what to do. I relate that to soccer a little bit, and this is where the Arsenal did bits against Tottenham today. We know that they're gonna try and do us on the counter attack, so we stacked up. As soon as we lost possession, we were back in position. We didn't have enough time to counter attack because rather than saying like how Arsenal used to do things over the years was like, we play this way, this is how we're going to play. It was like, what you should do is coach, and you will know that as a coach. I will know that as a qualified coach. Why don't we have a look at what the opposition doing, so therefore we can make sure we can still do our own thing and play our own game, but how to combat the opposition as to what they're going to do. The differences in football is that there's 10 billion plays that you can do, but there's only so many ways you can set yourself up with 11 men. So.
Absolutely, and I think the thing was from and I'll always I'll jump into my coaching knowledge here. We play teams and stuff like that, and you see their tendencies of what they like to do, and sometimes you get the rub of the green and you just nullify that person. We went against a team in Hereford, and they had a really nice little tight slot receiver / tight end. They used him in multiple different ways. Really talented guy. We just known him as number 3 because he wore a number 3, and he always wore this like blue armband, even though it went completely against their color scheme. So he stuck out like a sore thumb. Don't know why he did that. And all we did was we made sure our linebacker just chipped him at the line of scrimmage, and then the next linebacker would just carry him. And that's all we had to do because he was nullified. It was job done. They had to go on their run game, and they had to use their rubber players. Now, wide receivers couldn't catch for crap. I went against them. We were that beat up at the time that I took
Had it up.
I was going to say, I'd say take the headset off, but we don't have headset. I do hand signals, so I'm like a fucking doing all this shit. I look like a dancing monkey, and I look like a freaking idiot. So, but hey, I don't care. There's plenty of pictures out there of me like kind of waving an imaginary lasso or some shit. But it's all good fun. Screaming random words at people. Because we just found one team just really bit on everything I said, so I just made up crap. I was just literally going, Dallas, Tennessee, whiskey, and they'll be like, and then do all this crazy stuff. They're like panicking, and they'll be like, Pokemon, and then that meant actually out of all the words, it'd be like one word would mean something. So I just say a load of crap. One word.
That's the way it works, isn't it? When you're on the line,
we found that they were doing something, and if I could just blitz on that one angle, then I'd always get home because. They were moving somebody, they were doing some sort of motion, which meant they were vulnerable. So I just sent the linebacker on that side. We play a 4-4 or a 4-2-5, if you want to, whatever you want to call it. Let's not get into the techniques. We had 2 overhang guys, and They could blitz. So one was whiskey and one was any word with S, one was any word with W. So I'll just say a load of words. I'll be like, Dallas football, Green Bay. And then I'll just say like Memphis whiskey. And that guy will go. And he'd get home.
Love it.
And then, there were times where I wouldn't blitz, and I just said random words. And one of my players came in going, I didn't know if I was supposed to blitz. I went, did you hear a W word? He went, no. And I said, did you hear an S word? He went, no. And I went, so you weren't supposed to blitz.
Exactly. Just there where you are, bro. Yeah.
I love, and that's what I love about the like kind of, I suppose you could call it the chess game or what have you that they have in there. I mean, there's more to it at the professional level, obviously.
Oh,
but,
of course.
it's always nice. Like that was my first like proper like kind of getting nitty gritty with the coaching, so to speak. Like I've wrote a couple of game plans and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep it simple because I'm coaching random dudes. I'm not coaching no pros or anything like that. I got some talented dudes. I also have a lot of dudes that turn up to practice. They know who they are.
Yeah.
But I'm going on to passions, and hopefully I go with a bit more of a professional outlet. So hope the Sandwell Steelers I get to join, so that's kind of cool. I'll be stepping down from a DC position into a defensive backs position, which is where I'm from originally.
Yeah. Oh well, best of luck to you, man.
Much appreciated, brother. So we'll see how that goes. It should be good fun. It's only down the road from here, so I get to step them in division, so I get a bit more, I suppose what you could say, a bit more players that want it more. Because I could turn up to practice and coach 6 people. Yeah. And when you've got a young family, I got a little girl, I got a little boy, and I got a wife. We've been together for 8 years. Well, married 8 years, and together for 10. So, when I've wasted 3 hours of my time coaching 6 people, I walk away pissed off because I'm like,
oh yeah, of course, man. Yeah, and like being a dad myself, I'm a single dad. Do you know what I mean? So like, my time is super precious. Like, hence why I only do like with my podcast. Like MAD is still a thing. Mac and Devo, that stands for. Obviously, I'm Mac. My boy Devo. Big up Devo. No shout outs on this show. Big up Devo.
Hey, you shout him out, brother. You shout him out.
Man. Like, yeah, we set it up, and like I said, covering all these different sports. But now we're just sticking to Bundesliga football. Monday night's the only night that we are both free because he's got a little one. Is engaged, one on the way as well. Do you know what I mean? And then like, I'll play my darts, I'll work a full-time job, like it's just tough, so you just got to do what you got to do. And if people aren't prepared to honor that time, then they're not worth it. So I think you did the right thing.
And personally, for me, my love of, like, I'd say American sport, but I'll go with American football because I don't really follow any other sport. I watch a little bit of rugby here and there, but American sport is generally where I go. I my wife's into it, which is quite nice. Like, awesome. She wasn't into it originally. We went to America, and that's how I became a Bucs fan.
See, my ex's uncle is a ref in American football. And like does like lower leagues, but has also been a line ref in the Wembley games. Cool. And she's a massive Raiders fan, so that used to cause a bit of beef in the family. Do you know what I mean? Like, together, divisional rivals.
Hey,
and that
they've got less teeth than wins, right?
Man, they're so shit though, aren't they, Raiders?
They should have been better though.
They should be good. They're 0-3, and they deserve to be 0-3.
They played like an 0-3 team, to be fair.
Yeah, facts.
But like piggybacking off that, you're in the division. You obviously are division favorites right now. Do you see any other team kind of rivaling you?
Yeah, I mean, like I see all of them rivaling. I mean, like the Broncos' defense is decent. They've got Russell Wilson there now as well. And
but there's one person that I watched an interview. I can't remember. Kelsey turned around and said, "Is it Simmons on the?" I can't remember his name, but Simmons on the Denver Broncos. He said he's one of the few players that can actually shut him down.
Yeah, exactly.
Player.
But,
I want to give a big shout out to my boy Levante David, who shut him down in the Super Bowl because Levante did a job. Most underrated football player in football.
But like we've also got Ward as well. Ward's got great hands, and he's going to be in more snaps. As said like before, the onus is on Travis Kelce being our number one receiver effectively. But we've got 2 other tight ends that are pretty damn decent as well, and they're just not getting the love right now. but they will. The Raiders, man for man, they've got some bad boy players, man. Jacobs, unbelievable running back. I love Darren Waller. Darren Waller, top five tight end in the league. Renfrew, safe hands. Do you know what I mean? You're targeting 15 times, you'll catch 14. Honestly, I think he's fantastic. And Devontae Adams is, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the game right now. But like,
I didn't say the best because I think the best can always change. But I say he's one of the most complete wide receivers.
Yeah, for me, he's number one. The issue is he's got a car passing them with the ball. And
well, this is the thing. Now his stake of being the best kind of comes into fruition. We had this with D-Hop. Now D-Hop
it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Absolutely not. But when you talk about legacy in these things, and the people go about how good they were, if he doesn't have and he's, I think, quietly had because they've been poor on offense and they haven't won games, it kind of shadows what his stats are. And I haven't checked his stats, but I know his stats aren't bad. Like he's
he's still getting targeted, he's still catching balls. But the issue is, like, you know, I don't really see what direction the Raiders are trying to go in, you know. And the Chargers, man, full of weapons. I fully expect Chiefs to win the AFC West and Chargers to be a very, very, very close second. They'll beat us at their place.
Really?
Yeah. I think they will. I really think they will.
It's a tough one. I mean, that's a great throw of the ball. They are complete on both sides. So, like, I can see why. I mean, I always like when I'm looking at them, my most hate team is the Saints. Like, I detest the fucking Saints. I hate them. I hate their players. I respect their skill set. Like, Cameron Jordan. You know? Cameron Jordan's a fucking beast, but he's a dick. I hate him.
I don't mind the Saints, but then that's like rivalry from that side that side of the pond. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really hate anyone in the AFC, and I don't hate anyone in my division.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, I do hate people teams in the AFC. In fact, the only team I actually genuinely hate.
Are there any players in the AFC? You're in the AFC West, right?
West, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any players that actively come out and say your quarterback shit, or your O-line shit, or like this is what we get from Cameron Jordan? Yeah. Cameron Jordan's like, your O-line's crap. Your quarterback's about to die. Your quarterback's gonna get buried. You're trash. You're trash. Buccaneers fans are trash.
But Brady's a system QB though, isn't it? He needs like super decent O-line because he's not got the mobility, and like he's still consistent.
He's just quick
because his mind is up here. Do you know what I mean? And that's why Drew Brees was able to go on for so long. This is why Aaron Rodgers is still like at the top of the game, MVP last year. He's fucking 98 years old as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about it being up there, the knowledge up there, man. So, you know, like I love QBs nowadays and what they're doing, how they're moving about. I love watching Kyler Murray. I love watching Lamar Jackson. I love watching Pat, because Pat's not much of a mover, but he can shift when he needs to.
When he wants to. He shifted in that Super Bowl, man. I saw him.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, why we can't get hold of this guy? It just took a little bit longer.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow is actually starting to go down that route as well, because like Joe Burrow last season didn't move. I think he had about the number is really low. I think he had something stupid like 100 rushing yards all season, and 50 of those yards were in one game. But like he's been on the move a lot this season. I don't know whether like he's been asked to do that or something, or whether he doesn't trust certain players with the ball or whatever, but he's been on the move, and it's nice to see. You know, like you're looking at like Daniel Jones, he's a very Tom Brady wannabe, you know.
I like that.
Like he is, and like,
but I think if you don't have the mental aspect of that game, you could fall short big time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I look at AFC. I look at AFC West. I can't see anyone. I can only see one team coming close to us, and that is the Chargers. But like before the season started, I was thinking, do you know what? We're going to struggle this year. I actually thought that, not because we're shit, just because like the talent elsewhere.
It looked like he was getting a lot stronger. I mean, the Raiders loaded up. So did the Broncos. It looked like in all fairness, it was going to be almost like a four-way battle a struggle to the top almost.
Yeah, it was almost thinking,
more clear
fuck
that
me, we're all going to beat each other, but they're all going to have like mad records against each other as well. We'll all be fucking 14-3 somehow. You know, like beat each other once and then we're not losing another game elsewhere.
AFC North and what they've got going on, that's always been a division where people have argued that, yeah, legitimately 3 teams can go from there. Now that we have that extra, the seventh seed now or what have you.
Yeah, don't like that, by the way.
No, it makes it messy, to be honest. It's confusing. I mean, it's great if you're a team that's scraping into
struggle. Maybe it's a little bit of elitism from me because I've been spoilt with greatness for the last like 5-6 years. But like even before that, when I was getting into football properly, it was the perfect setup. Just leave it alone.
Let's face it, the 7th pick team usually don't do a lot.
No.
It's a bit like now that I don't know if you follow college. I follow college.
I really should. Like if there's I'll watch the odd game. I'll watch the odd game, but I don't like I've got live darts on in the background right now. Saturdays are college football.
Florida State at the moment.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know, like that I should be watching college football. I should be learning more about what to expect for next season. But like what I'll end up doing when the season finishes.
So many colleges out there with so many players that are available to be taken. It's not.
Well, what I end up doing is like when the season finishes, then trying to load my brain with as much information, you know, like that period during like the free transfer and the draft day. I've got like 3 weeks or whatever. That's when I'm like, oh, who's this guy? I'm on CBS, I'm on ESPN. I'm like, oh, trying to find out all this shit. You know what I mean? But then, yeah, I don't know.
I'll give you one of my tips when we get. I'm a part of a thing that does a live mock draft. So you have a GM for every team. I've been the GM for the Packers for the last while because the guy who runs is a Bucs fan, so I can't do Bucs. And there's a fair few Bucs fans in it because we're all kind of relate with each other. But we've picked other teams and what have you. My big tip to that is go with the consensus of what everyone else is saying.
Yeah, facts.
Facts. You turn around and go, this guy, like you look at where you're picking and you look at the players in the 5 to 10 picks that you are in. Yeah. So let's say you're picking 15. So you're looking at 10 to 25. You look at all the draft experts, and I say experts because they're all self-proclaimed. There's none of them been in, not many of them been in actual NFL teams and have ever watched proper never actually coached anybody. But they'll turn around and go, this guy moves his hips this way and really, really good. Great. You say generational talent 100 times, maybe one day you'll get it right.
Oh, mate, honestly, stay off Twitter if you don't want to see things like that, especially when it comes to the soccer game as well, man. Christ. Everyone's like, generational talent. Oh, shut up, man. Just watch the game.
You say, no, one day you'll get it right, and then you can turn around and hang your hat on it.
See, that was me. I said that back in 2017.
Boom. And it's like it's the Tom Brady thing when people go, oh, he's going to fall off a cliff. Tampa Bay isn't getting the Tom Brady of old. They're getting a crap Tom Brady. And I'm like, okay. But it's not like I was like, well, a crap Tom Brady's probably still better than Jameis Winston who can't see shit. So I'll take that.
I feel sorry for famous Jameis, you know, because like,
I got a lot of love for famous. And I do.
Yeah, me too. And like maybe I was watching like Hard Knocks that made me do it, but like well, the thing is, like, he will still get you fight. Like, well, maybe I love him so much because of fantasy.
The ultimate dude is the Buccaneers did exactly what they needed to do against him, and that was getting him to play Jameis ball. Jameis, when he feels like he's chasing the game, tries to do too much. And previously, when we played against him, he didn't need to because his team kept on
him the game. He carried him.
So,
but he would still get like when that year when everyone's taking the piss out of him.
Any risks because they were in the game. The moment he feels that game's starting to fall out, then he'll take risks and then he'll start getting stupid. And that's what he did. He got stupid.
Well, that year when he got like 30 interceptions, you know, he was still averaging like 350 to 400 yards a game.
Yeah, so we didn't have any run game. That's all we did. That's all we did.
Exactly, but like it's still a lot of yards. There's still a lot of tuddies. Do you know what I mean? So, you know.
Well, I've got a big shout out for him because my little girl just got into football back when he was still with the Bucs. And I've told this story about 1,000,000 times on this show, and I'm going to tell it again. So if anyone doesn't like it, fuck them. My little girl was asking about like who's number 3, and I was like, "Oh, it's James Winston, because quarterback, obviously, cameras on him."
Yeah.
She's jumping up and down on the sofa, going, "Let's go, Jameis! Let's go!"
Love
Like,
that.
we're really going for it. I think I might actually upload it one day, because I can't get done for copyright. It's my daughter. Facebook can't do me for that. I got trademarks on that. That's mine. Made from half of this. So I posted it up on Twitter, because she's wearing like an old Bucs jersey, because I didn't know if she was going to get into football properly or not. So I just brought her like a cheap one, just see if she'd get into it. And she loved the whole like vibe of like game day kind of thing. Like we do little videos, like the family getting dressed up in their Bucs gear. We're all bouncing around, like spiking footballs and doing stupid stuff, and the kids absolutely love it. And it was the first time for her kind of getting involved in all this. And I posted it up on Twitter and tagged him in it. His manager messaged me saying, "Jameis wants to send your daughter a jersey."
No fucking way.
2 weeks later, just at Boxing Day, this package arrived with a limited jersey, pair of socks, a hat, and a jacket.
That's so much better, man. Better from
And
famous
to her,
James.
Jameis Winston is God.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston is her dude. Like they had sports release days, and you had to dress up as your favorite sportsman. She went as Jameis Winston. Famous Jameis. And she sat there with this bandana on across thing, and she squinted. "Oh, what are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm doing Jameis's face." I was like, "Oh yeah, he squints when he can't see his fucking wide receivers."
When it's like that, "Oh, you see that W? I'm gonna eat that." Yeah.
Absolutely, brother. Well, I gotta let you go in a minute, because I got another show to do. I'll be bouncing on to another show
no problem
wild after this. So I'm gonna do my little 2-minute drill, and then we'll talk about how our takeaway for the game. And I'd like to get you in next week to unload what happened in this game that's gonna transpire on Sunday Night Football, or for me and you.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, see how we get along.
Are you ready to go, brother?
Yeah, we'll try it.
Okay.
There we go.
You already answered this one. Tea or coffee?
Beer.
But tea or coffee?
I don't do hot drinks, man.
I used to be that way until I got into coffee. It's the children. I need something to get me going. Best ever Chiefs player?
Best ever. Tony Gonzalez, man.
I like that. That's good. Juice or squash?
Beer. Nah, I prefer juice.
I'm a squash guy, because you can just take that with you everywhere. That's the only reason.
Get me a Tropicana.
Tropicana's nice.
Coors Light or Bud Light? Coors Light, but normal, just straight Bud, normal Bud. That is me.
Yeah, I'm the same. Coors Light, but I don't know if they do normal Coors. I have no idea. Unrated one that I haven't put in here, Miller Light, is legit.
Oh, Miller is underrated. So is Michelob as well.
I've not tried that. I'll have to get into that. Rock or rap?
I rap every day. I'm a former rapper. I had one of my songs played on One Extra a few years
ago.
Oh,
no, you need to do a Kansas City rap next.
I'm retired now. I'm retired.
Come on, get that lyricist out in you. You know you got it. Dumb question. This is, I know the answer to this one. College or NFL?
NFL, I'd say.
Obviously. Greatest all-time running back?
Walter Payton.
Nice choice. I like it. Favorite team draft pick since you've been a fan?
Of my team?
Yes.
Well,
my homeboy.
Obvious. Yeah, exactly.
My homeboy.
Kim Patrick Mahomes II.
Coined the phrase by the great Shannon Sharp, obviously. Steak or burgers?
Steak every day.
Yes, sir. Boneless or bone chicken wings? None of that vegan stuff for me. I'm telling you that. I like English myself.
I know it's a quick fire, but I went to a bar in New York called Sidebar. It's no longer open, which I'm really upset about. Bacon wrapped chicken wings. Next question.
You just like drop my.
So yeah, bones every day, man. That's where you get the flavor. You get the flavor because of the bones. Was that sorry?
Who was your first? First fancy draft pick this year?
Mate, I don't know. I acquired the team. I acquired the team on week 1. So I don't know who it was.
Negating that, who would have you have picked if you had first refusal?
Oh, if I had a first refusal, I'd probably pick Dalvin Cook.
That's a nice thing, because the thing is, every time I've done this, a lot of people go quarterbacks or wide receivers. I was like, why?
No. Always running backs.
Running back.
Backs every
I'm going to
time.
run back to back.
Yeah, and if maybe
Pick about
a
freaking Matt Stafford
naughty.
in the 4th or 5th.
Fuck Matt Stafford, by the way.
But
Hate that guy.
From the fantasy guy, he's a
From a
dude.
fantasy point of view, no. Fantasy. If you look at a quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I'm looking at trying. If I could pick him up on third pick, I'm doing it, because he's a running back. It's free money.
Free money, and you're playing with house money at that point. So most hated team.
Patriots, hate him.
I like it. I like your style. Best takeaway.
Turkish.
I've never tried. I never really got into Turkish food. Never had the chance. Most hated player.
Matt Stafford. Hate him. I don't know why. I just hate him. I've always hated him from minute one.
Favorite football memory. Super Bowl.
No, it's not the Super Bowl. No, it's being there live at the Coliseum watching my team play. I've never no one can ever take that away from me. We might win another Super Bowl, but
did you see them in London when they played against the Detroit Lions?
No, I wasn't able to get hold of a ticket, so and I didn't really care that much. That was what 2007.
I have liked the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't want to admit it, because now I look like I'm a homeboy lover. So I like the Chiefs was Jamal Charles.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, great.
Dude, like I went to America and watched a documentary on his life. Well, me and my wife were there, and I was like, this guy's a stand-up absolute.
Well, man. I watched a lot of Patrick during the preseason, before he was the starter, and I was like, I'm worried. I miss Alex Smith. I love Alex Smith. By the way,
left, right, and center, wasn't he, in the camp?
Yeah. He was throwing some mad dimes, like 70 yards, but they weren't hitting anyone.
Play crap like that fucking what you call it? The basketball team that does all the crazy stuff. What they call it?
Globetrotters.
Yeah, he's like football equivalent of that. Sometimes I wish he would stop that crapping game. I'm like, dude, just win the fucking football game. Stop doing this sidearm, underleg crap. It's funny, and don't get me wrong, when it comes off, it's great, but when he doesn't get it off, he still gets praised for it. I've never seen a quarterback throw a pick because he was falling down and people go, well, that was a really good throw.
Exactly.
I've seen James Winston do the same shit and go, that was
not allowed.
Just count. Stupidest thing you could ever do. Patrick Mahomes does, and they're like, damn, that was nearly on target. And he was vertical in the air. It's like, all right, fair enough. Anyway, let's get back to this. Best in-game snack.
I love my sweets, man. I love sweets. Chewy sweets, man. Yeah.
Skittles? Haribo?
I've actually got some Skittles just
here.
Malwam?
I'm a Malwam lover myself.
I'm actually there's two sweets that they do in Lidl. Because
Candy for the people across America.
What do you call?
Candy,
yeah, man. So Lidl is the place to go for sweets, and Aldi.
Yeah, I'm an Aldi boy, but similar.
No, Aldi for meat. That's the rhyme. Aldi meat, Lidl sweet.
Not heard that. I like it.
I made it up. I've copyrighted it and everything as well. that's my thing. If I hear it, I'm suing. Pepsi Max.
Pain. It mixes so well with alcohol. Most overrated player in football. Matt Stafford.
Yeah, it is Matt Stafford. Yeah, he's overrated, man. I don't rate him.
Underrated in football.
Most underrated player in football. Ooh, I would probably say. Oh, that's a tough. Oh shit! Wait there.
Don't break your house.
Most underrated player in football. I'll probably say James Robinson. Wait there, one sec. There you go. Yeah, James Robinson, man, sick running back. So, and Berrios as well. I love Berrios.
Yeah, he's a dude. And then all-time quarterback of all time.
Man, I love Dan Marino, man. What a player.
He was a dude.
What a player. Will be Patrick Mahomes.
I like your style there, yeah.
Because
he can't be. No reason he can't be.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many how many Super Bowls you've won. I'm sorry, yeah, like because as I said before, Tom Brady, people call him the GOAT because he's won 7, right? But is he better than Aaron Rodgers? No.
I'd say he's mentally better though.
I don't think so. And people, it's just like, you know, like in the soccer world, there's so many way better technically gifted players.
The whole GOAT phrase is a bit of a thing to coin for all time.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to put that on someone.
Because people will turn around and say like, oh, like for instance, in soccer world, yeah, it's like I don't know. Tony Adams is a way better centre half than Wes Brown will ever have been. But people say, yeah, but Wes Brown's won 2 Champions Leagues. So congratulations, you were part of a great team with a great coach.
Fair point. I think the difference with the NFL world is not many teams can win with a shit quarterback.
Yeah, but he's not. You don't have to be.
Aaron Rodgers is that great. He still can't get past.
He just can't get over the line.
Tom Brady had the same amount of NFC championship NFC championships as both Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers in 1 year. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to call him my GOAT, and that's all. That the whole GOAT conversation changes year on year. Because it's like a sprinter. They break a record. That record is there to be broken at some point.
Yeah.
So you see, exactly. Tom Brady's broken the touchdown record. Some eventually will do that. It might be a Patrick Mahomes. It could be someone else.
I just think I just look at like the Chiefs aren't going to be around forever. Patrick Mahomes has still got he just turned 27. He's got at least 10 years in the game. If he was to win 3 more Super Bowls, irrespective of anyone else, he will be the greatest for what he is doing physically on that pitch every fucking Sunday of every season. For what we are seeing, the eye test, his ability with his
he also
arms,
comes into a league that's a little bit more set up for his skill set, because Tom Brady could get trashed a little bit more. He got to feel a little bit of that, like kind of late 90s, early 2000s vibe, whereas Patrick Mahomes comes into. So I think you
got to go by era. It's almost like the Pele, Maradona, Messi, Ronaldo.
I'd say Tom Brady is the GOAT of the last 20 years, 100%. But whether he will be anything else from then on, I mean, his career's not far from done anyway. But brother, I gotta let you go. Are you looking to come on next week and we unpack this game?
Yeah, next Saturday. Worst case scenario, if we can meet up a little bit before, put a little recording, you could lob it in the thing, because I do believe I'm at a party next Saturday, but I will do my best to get back on.
All right, man, brother. We'll sort it out.
We'll talk.
So tell everyone where we can catch you.
Yeah, so every Saturday afternoon, UK people, timings, I should say, because you can listen to me anywhere in the world between 2 and 6 p.m. every Saturday on the Revolution Radio app. And if you are in Northampton on 96.1 FM, you'll be able to catch me on the radio chatting shit about sport, playing a few tunes and that as well. And then if you want to just see me chat shit about anything and see what I'm doing in my life, at GavMac23 on Twitter and Instagram. So that's at GAVMACK23.
Cheers, brother. Much appreciated for your time. I'll catch you soon.
Man. Thanks a lot. Take care. All the best.
And you, man. Okay, so that was Gav Mac, and I am pretty much done here. We will be running Buck Wild probably only a few moments away. I've probably got enough time to go to the toilet and then come straight back here, crack open a can, and we'll get going, me and Teresa, on Buck Wild, baby. So that's it from me, guys. Much appreciated. As always, deuces up. We got 2. We going for free, baby. Catch you soon.